Alright, day 5. So I took a trade earlier today, just the one trade, didn't record it. But it was basically, there was a nice little range that formed here, and then we had a drop under, and then a test, tried to break the highs here, couldn't fail, dropped back into the range, we had a push under, a retry, a good drop lower, and then we had this big imbalance run higher. So I got in on a slight pullback here, and then I took it just through a break of these highs. So this is a really nice trade. This is what I would look for all the time in terms of a trigger. Price couldn't go lower. We also had volume. We also had volume underneath us, back into the range, and then the auction completed up to the top, and then we actually got the breakthrough. I'm looking at this demand area that we've formed. We've broken higher, and we're looking like we might want to come up and test this prior high. And if we get a pull back down to this demand, I'll be watching to see if there's some absorption that happens. We're back above all of this volume and point of control now, so I really think that this is setting up nicely for a break of this high, and then potentially up into the 4,300 area. I don't want to jump it here. I want to see if we get a break under these lows. Ideally, if we can get a break under these lows, dip into this demand, and we see some nice increased volume and a rejection back up into the range, then we've got a nice trigger, and then we can see if we can break up and break through this high. Alright, so I'm in long here. We've basically broke these lows that I was looking at. We came up, tested, pushed higher, held there, this little value area that's been created at this point, and dropped back under all these lows, tested under down into this area I was looking at, and then we got a nice big imbalance back up into the range, back into the range of all of this volume. So I've just gone long. My stops behind this lower demand area. That's really the final point. I wouldn't want to see it, but once we break this high, I'll move my stop under this low, and I'm just going to target, initially I'm just going to target a break of this prior high. I think it's possibly going to get higher, so at this point I'll start reducing risk now that we've broken that high. There's no need to have any more risk on, so the trade's working out nicely, and we'll just see how it goes. We might need to, I'll probably take half off as we push up into this high, and then we'll see how we go with the rest of it. We've created this demand here now, so we can use that as protection, so we can keep our stop just behind this demand area, and we've reduced a good amount of risk. So now we're risking 147 to make 350, so it's reducing the overall risk. So we might get stopped out here, but I don't really want to leave. Don't want to leave this too open to dropping out of this value and coming all the way down and testing this demand. I'd rather take a stop out here, see if we get the push under and the rejection back in, and then I'll get in again. Or if we come all the way down and test into the demand. Alright, so that was a loss. So I took a loss on that one. Does it form like this one that's starting to form, and also behind high volume nodes? So we're coming into this sort of high volume area. If we flush these highs, I'll get my stop. If we test into these highs, I'll probably get my stop half off, which will reduce a lot of risk, and then I'll be much more comfortable in the trade. Then it doesn't really matter to me too much what happens after that. And yeah, now we're starting to pop up. So there's going to be some people underwater here now that have got short, and they're going to start feeling the pain right about these highs. Once we get up into these highs, they're going to have stops there. They're going to definitely have stops above this high. So hopefully we can get a nice push into this area, and the momentum of them trying to get out is just going to send this much higher. So we're in a good spot to, in this situation where we got this nice area and there's a lot of potential traps, it's worth holding it to see if we can get the break of this high and the break of this high for a good size trade. Alright, there we go. We're starting to break up. This is really nice now, so I'm going to get my risk off. So I've basically halved my risk from what it was originally, and I've added some extra position to it as well. Once we come up into this volume area, I might take a couple of contracts off, but this is looking very good now. Now we're back up into this range. We're looking bullish again, and all this volume down here, all of these people that tried to get short, looking for this flush lower, they're all now trapped. So they're going to have to get out, depending on where the pain point is for them. I would suspect these lows are probably a point of no return once that flips and we get back up into this range. This is probably going to get more and more aggressive as we flush higher to ultimately break these highs. So I really don't want to take too much off this because it has a very good potential, given how many people are probably trapped, to really flush higher. But at the same time, I want to make sure I'm getting my risk off, and I want to make sure that I'm taking some profit along the way. So I'll probably take half off as we come into this volume node, and then I'll get to break even, and then I'll see what happens beyond that. All right, so let's see if we can break these highs, come up into this value area. I'm going to take 3 off once we get up into the bottom edge of this range, bottom edge of this volume. I'm going to take 3 off up here, and then I'll get to break even. I'm basically at break even now. I'm not really going to let this. I'm not really going to let this be a losing trade at this point. So I just want a nice pop up. I'll take 3 off, get to break even, and then I'll hold for the longer break because I really do think it's got a good chance to get all the way up here. Okay, so we're filling in some volume here, which is good. Here we go.
Order filled.
Okay, so I took some off there, and I'm going to scale this up. Alright, so I've decided to take the rest of it off here, just as we come into this value area. So up, it was about 340, no it wasn't that much, it was about 260 on that trade. So that was a really good trade. Happy with that, it's profitable for the day. So what I'm going to do is, we're coming into this value area, we're also coming into this broader area of resistance, right? So we've got this, so we might start doing something like this. We might come in and test again, then we might get a rejection deep back down into the range. So I don't really want to risk all of that. It was a good trade, profitable, dug me out of the hole and made me green for the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait, see if we get another trick down here, and I'll take a small position again. Less risk, but I'll see if it wants to break the high. But while there was that good amount on the table, there's no point in giving it all back if we are going to sort of form this larger wedge and come all the way back down. I'm going to try a little short here, a little long here. This will be my last trade, so we'll see what we do. We basically had a nice little drop under these lows, and then I was just watching the volume as we came in on this bar. So we got some nice big volume building, and we sort of had a push back up. Now we're having a nice push back up into this value area. This is a trigger that I look for over and over and over again. So now this looks good. We don't need to have much risk on this. So the stop will be just below the low. So either way, it's going to be a profitable day. This will be my last trade either way. And now we're going to see if this demand's going to hold. We may get a flush and a break. I think price is going to want to try and test this. So if we get up into this area, I'll take 1 off. I'll take half off up into this range, and then up into this the top end of this wedge. And then see if we can get the break. See if we get the break higher. That's the ultimate target. It's the idea I've had from the start of the session. So we'll see if it actually wants to play out. It's trying to push. Trying to break these highs. All right, this is the moment of truth for these bulls. I'm getting my risk off. There's no point in having risk on this trade anymore. So we're either going to test up, hold, and reject, or we're going to test up and we're going to break this and flush this high. Looks like we might be rejecting. Technically, I could keep my stop below this demand area because this demand hasn't been tested yet. I don't really want to do that though, given how close we are to this area, and if it is going to sell off, you might see a deeper pushback before we try and properly test it. So I'd rather just take the break even here. Then if it wants to test this demand and give me another trigger, I'll try one more time. Might be the day for miracles for me.
Order filled.
Alright. I'm going to try one last long here. So looks like I might be getting stopped out here. Alright. Alright, so we've holding this demand for now, holding the bottom edge of this range. I'm getting a little bit more risk off here, but we really didn't sweep and flush under these lows, really explore the liquidity under here and then get a nice move up.
Order filled.
There we go, so stopped out. Alright, trading along here. We came down, tested this demand, tested the bottom end of this trend line and created a nice amount of volume, and we're getting a nice push back up into this value area. So this is a good spot to get along, and I'm just looking for a break of this high. I'm not looking for anything too much more than that. I'll scale out probably half of this as we test up into the top end of this. Alright, so this looks like it could be the move that's going to actually break these highs. I'm going to take half off, but I want to see if we can get up into this area, and then I'll take half off before the break, get to break even, and then see if we can get the actual break. We've now got this larger sort of overall demand area, so I'd expect this to hold. Watching volume. Yeah, it just continues to reject there.
Order filled.
Okay, I took half off. It's just rejecting a bit there. Volume's coming in. We've got this indecision, so I don't really want to. I'm going to also move my stop up below this volume node. This high volume node here. If we break these highs, I'll get my stop under this low and under this high volume area. Okay, so I'm going to lock that in, lock that profit in. We're pushing. I'm going to potentially lock more in as we come into this high, because realistically, if we're going to break this, we're going to break through it and we're going to flush. So if we get some indecision, I don't really want to lose a lot on this. So I'm just going to keep my stop trailing up here as we move up into this range. Right, what I might actually do is
order filled.
I'm going to take the last bit off there. So I've got one left. Stop behind the bar. At this point, I really want to see it flush through these highs. We've dropped and we've done all this, so it really needs to just go at this point. If it comes back on me, that's fine. I'll just be out. Yep, so this is good. Again, I'm going to move my stop behind this bar, because we're at this point where everyone's trapped, right? So they will be needing to get out, and there should be a strong flush through these highs at this point. It's the third time or third time we've come back to this. We don't want to let this turn into a big losing trade. All right, so that's locking in 300 for the day. So now I just want to see if it wants to go. Okay, nice. Nice, so I'm going to trail behind the bar, see what sort of push we get, trail up as we flush, trail up as we flush, continues to, there we go, nice. So we're testing this outer edge, we might come back down now, but we got as much as we could out of this move by trailing up, watching volume as it went up. We might break higher now, but 328, so I'm going to lock that out for the rest of the day. Done, 328, that's a good day. And the ideas played out that we were looking for. We're back up at this point. At this point, I would expect it to really flush through now. But there was no sense in staying in this when we could find some resistance here, and then we could come all the way back and we just lose all that profit. There we go, there's the flush. Broke this high, and then see if we rip through. A lot of stops up here. potentially a good spot to get short as well. So it's all a bit unknown, but I'm happy with that 328. It's a good day.